communist government secretly built a video game console. Only 1,000 were ever made. This is the story of a hidden war fought in living rooms. This machine is a ghost, a relic from a country that no longer exists. It is the Bildschirmspiel 01 or BSS-01, the first and only video game console ever produced by the German Democratic Republic. Roughly 1,000 units were created. Today, only a handful survive. It tells a forgotten story about technology ambition and a secret conflict for the hearts and minds of a nation's youth. To understand why this console was built, we must travel back in time. The 1970s were a period of intense division. Germany was split by the Iron Curtain. In West Germany, technology was a part of daily life. The video game industry was exploding. In 1972, the Magnavox Odyssey appeared. It was the first home video game console in history. Its games were simple glowing squares on a screen, but one game called Tennis was a sensation. A company named Atari saw its potential. They simplified the concept and released Pong. Within a year, Pong became the first commercially successful video game ever made. The race was on. By 1977, advanced consoles like the Atari 2600 were conquering households across America and Western Europe. Games became more complex. Sound and graphics improved at an incredible speed. Icons like Space Invaders and Pac-Man were born. The first home computers like the Commodore PET 2001 and the Apple II emerged. The West was pulling far ahead in a technological arms race. But on the other side of the wall, the story was very different. Most East German homes had a television, but a personal computer or a game console was an unimaginable luxury. This growing technology gap did not go unnoticed by the government. In 1977, the GDR made a monumental decision. It declared microelectronics a top national priority. Billions of dollars were invested to create an independent microchip industry. The goal was to prove that a socialist state could innovate just like the West. And at the heart of this plan was a curious ambition to build their own video game console. So why would a state-controlled economy focus on something like video games? The answer lies with one powerful man. His name was Karl Nendel, the state secretary for electronics. Nendel was not a typical party official. He was a trained electrical engineer. He had a reputation for being strict, uncompromising, and fiercely intelligent. His colleagues gave him a nickname, Revolver Carl. Sometime around 1977, Revolver Carl arrived at the GDR's largest electronics plant. In his hands, he held a Western Atari console. His orders were simple and absolute: build this. But here is where the story gets interesting. How could they possibly copy it? The GDR was a planned economy. Resources were tightly controlled from the top. More importantly, a coalition of Western nations called COCOM strictly embargoed the export of advanced technology to the Eastern Bloc. High-performance microchips were on the blacklist. The country lacked the knowledge and the money to develop its own. It seemed like an impossible mission. The engineers, however, found a brilliant loophole. The main chip inside the Atari, the American AY-380-500, was considered so low-tech that it was not on the embargo list. It slipped right past the export controls, so the GDR simply imported it. The heart of the first communist console was a capitalist American microchip. The other components were a mix. Some were produced in the GDR, others were imported from fellow Soviet states. The speaker came from a company called Tesla in Czechoslovakia. Even the plastic casing was a matter of chance. Factories simply used whatever color material was available that day. In 1979, the BSS-01 rolled off the production line. East Germany had its console. It played 4 games: tennis, football, squash, and pelota. All of them were just slight variations of Pong. The dream was to get young people excited about technology, to create a new generation of engineers and programmers. The console was meant to be a symbol of socialist progress, but reality quickly shattered the illusion. The BSS-01 had a crippling price. It cost roughly half of an average citizen's monthly salary. Almost nobody could afford one. Most units ended up in state-run youth centers. The grand experiment was a catastrophic failure. Production stopped after just 2 years. Plans for a successor with color graphics were abandoned. the factory moved on to producing radio alarm clocks. The story of the BSS-01 could have ended there, a strange footnote in gaming history, but the GDR's ambition did not die. In the mid-1980s, they commissioned a coin-operated arcade machine called the Polyplay. It was more advanced and featured a ripoff of Pac-Man. Until its final days, the regime believed games were a powerful tool for influence. One researcher in 1988 wrote that computer games help children absorb the ideas and values of socialism through play. 1 year later, the Berlin Wall fell. The GDR ceased to exist. Its gaming ambitions vanished with it. But what if the strategy was not wrong? What if it was just poorly executed? Because today another communist country has taken this idea and turned it into a global phenomenon. China. Over the last decade, the tech giant Tencent has become the largest video game company on the planet. It quietly buys stakes in developers all over the world. It dominates the mobile gaming market. And now China is using games to project its power in a way the GDR could only dream of. Blockbuster titles like the 2024 action RPG Black Myth Wukong are designed to weave traditional Chinese culture into their narratives. The game became a massive international success. It did more to popularize China's stories globally than years of traditional propaganda. Of course, this power comes with risks. Chinese games are often heavily censored. User data is closely tied to the state. Yet the strategy is working. The secret dream of the BSS-01 to use video games as a tool of global influence has finally been realized, just not by the country that first imagined it. For more hidden histories, subscribe and turn on notifications.